On the 29th day of this month of May 2025, President Bola Tinubu's administration would have clocked 2 years. Already, many Nigerians, including economists and public affairs analysts, have been trying to pinpoint the specific accomplishments of Mr. President against the backdrop of his commitment at the time to dedicate his time and the nation's resources to giving Nigerians a worthy standard of living. Well, now we are being joined here on Newsday by Dr. George Agbakahi, a member of President Tinubu's All Progressives Congress Party, to have a chat on his achievements as well as the recent floodgates of defection into the party by aggrieved members of other political parties. Good day. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
So, Dr. Agbakahi, let's start with the significant milestones that the Tinubu administration has achieved in the last 2 years. Can you list some of them for us, and tell us how these have impacted the standard of living of Nigerians?
Thank you again for having me. I believe the 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in office has been marked by a lot of successes. I'm quite aware that you listened to the news, was it yesterday, when it was reported that the inflation in Nigeria has declined, to 23.7%. That is a pretty good accomplishment. And also, it's just on record that the public revenue generally increased by 4.5%, of GDP in 2024. This was really described by World Bank as a remarkable feat, and all these accomplishments, came as a result of the extrication, of the fuel subsidy, as well as the unification, of the exchange rate. A lot has been done. The president has done a whole lot. When President Tinubu came in, I think sometime in 2022 or early part of 2023, we were servicing debt in this country with 97% of our revenue. But currently, as we speak, we only service debt with about 68% of the revenue. Our national debt has come down considerably from $108 billion to about 94 billion. And just yesterday or just 2 days ago, the administration was able to pay off the IMF COVID debt of about $3.4 billion. I think a whole lot is happening. Look at what is happening. We've recorded a trade surplus of 14.31 billion in this 2024. There are a lot of initiatives. Which one will I start talking and which one will I forget? Go to student loan. The president has put smiles on the faces of parents in this country. Education is now accessible, both to the ordinary man in this country. So far 54.2 billion naira has been disbursed, both to the universities, as tuition, as well as to students as stipend. A lot is happening. Our GDP has grown. It has grown since he came in. It has gone up 3.85%. When he came in, it was about 2.15. As we speak, it's 3.85%. A lot is happening. Look at FIRS, revenue generation in this country. Before Tinubu came on board, FIRS was generating mainly about 10.1 trillion. As at 2024, it generated about 21 trillion naira. A lot is happening, So a lot has been done. Is it
Dr.
Yes.
Agbakahi, thank you so much. You've given us, a list of what you say the president's achievements have been in the last 2 years. But I don't want you to forget the second part of my question.
Just some of them.
All right, thank you. How have some of these achievements that you have listed, how have they impacted the standard of living of Nigerians? Are Nigerians richer? Do they have better jobs? Is the country more secure? How has it impacted the lifestyle of the average Nigerian?
I just told you about the NEL fund, student loan. It has impacted the lives of parents considerably. Look at the credit corp. Nigerians cannot be able to go and borrow money like you have overseas. You never had something like that in this country before. And in the area of agriculture, a lot is also happening. We are now getting a little bit of food security. I was listening to the managing director of BUA, and he was saying, which is true, that the price of rice has also gone down. The price of rice has gone down. Okay, just listen. Generally, before President Tinubu came on board, a lot of states were unable to pay their bills. But since President Tinubu came on board, there has been 300% increase in FAC allocation to states, which has never happened in any administration in this country. To this end, states are able, to pay their bills. Salaries of workers are no longer being owed by states. There has never been any ASU strike since President Tinubu came on board. The last time was in 2022. So a lot is happening. You see, let me tell you, before Tinubu came in, the economy was battered in this country. So he came in, and instituted, pretty tough reforms. But you have to understand that it takes time. It's just like somebody that just came out of a surgery. It takes some time to heal. But so far, the economy is coming up. It's coming up in several facets of the economy. There is improvement.
Well, we'd like to thank you for that, especially for not making the allusion to pregnancy, because it seems this administration always wants to say that the economy is moving along like a pregnant woman. But this surgery allusion is much better and much more appropriate. We can understand that because we are definitely in the phase of post-surgical operation. The wounds are open. There's still blood on the dressings. The human being isn't feeling well, and we're in between going back to the doctor's office and going home. That is how the average Nigerian feels about this economy. I know you have listed so many achievements that have numbers attached to them, but just remember, as you sit in the corridors of power and in politics, the average Nigerian does not have the time to process the word salad and the numbers. What they want is to feel like they are doing better in life and they are not struggling. Now, I know you said the price of rice has come down, but I'm not sure the last time you bought a bag of rice, sir. It definitely is not the case. But the question today is, what are the long-term projections for the Nigerian economy, and how do you feel that the administration has addressed the hardships that Nigerians are going through? Not just telling us that things are better, but how have they sympathized with the rough parts, with this part of the surgery when the patient is still, beat up? How is the APC being more sensitive to Nigerians, or how has the Tinubu administration been more sensitive to Nigerians, and how could they do a better job going forward?
Well, I think the president so far has done a better job. In the area of employment opportunities, the president believes sincerely that is not the duty of the government alone to provide employment opportunities to all Nigerians. In that respect, the president has tried all his best to, provide the enabling environment, for the private sector to participate in providing employment opportunities. Look at the youth empowerment program that is ongoing. There are about 110 billion domiciled in that particular area, and many youths are taking advantage of it. This is happening. Look at Back of Industry. Back of Industry has provided 110 billion, to small-scale industries. These are ways, of making the economy to have a sustainable growth, which is more important. Having a sustainable growth is not just having an artificial economy like we've had in the past. So a lot is happening,
Now, Dr. Agbakahi, I'm wondering, how would you assess the public's perception of this administration and compare it with the way the Bola Tinubu's administration views its performance? Do you think both are in sync or are they different? In plain words, what I'm asking you is, how in touch with reality is this administration?
I've told you earlier on in this platform that the states are getting increased budgetary allocations, about 300%. You see, everything is not federal government. The president believes in true federalism. That's why he's been able to make sure that the states get more allocation of funds. That's why, he has made this possible for us to have local government autonomy. So the states and the local government should also do their part. The president has done a whole lot in decentralizing, the entire economy, whereby the states get their own fund, the local government gets their own fund independently. Mind you, most of the people in this country live in the local government areas. And that's why the president made it humanly possible for us to get to have local government autonomy. Something that we've never had since the inception, of democratic rule in the Fourth Republic, 1999. So that is what is happening.
Well, what are some legacy goals for the administration? 2 years in, you've reeled out some of the achievements. What are some of the legacy goals? And how does the president and his party plan to achieve them?
Well, you know very well about the CNG and the electric vehicle. You never heard of this in Nigeria, but it's happening. CNG is happening. So many CNG vehicles, over 400 buses are plying on the roads of Nigeria, courtesy of initiatives of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So these are all the things. Student loan, I've said it earlier on, is a very remarkable accomplishment of this president. It's happening. The parents are happy about it. The students are happy about it, getting their monthly stipend. So those are things that are happening. Minimum wage, 70,000 naira every month. Is it not a remarkable accomplishment of this president?
But Dr. Agbakahi,
which one will I not remember
Dr.
also?
Agbakahi, are you aware that 70,000 naira cannot buy a bag of rice? So is it really worth celebrating, considering the high cost of inflation at the moment?
Yeah, but things will definitely, come to be perfect in this country. Like I told you, it's a movement. It's a movement. The 70,000 naira minimum wage, at least, is a step in the right direction. Unlike before, when we were having, about half of it. A lot is going on. Look at Our foreign reserve in Nigeria just hit a year to date, excuse me, of 40, about 40 billion. Is it not a step in the right direction? These are all happening because of the bold and ambitious policies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That's why all these things are happening.
All right then, Dr. Agbakahi. Let's get you off the hot seat for a second and pivot into other pressing matters concerning the APC. There's a lot of defections. You all are receiving new members back to back, and there are concerns that these defections are going to be problematic for our nation's democracy in that it turns it into a de facto one-party state, and also that the National Assembly and other situations might be imbalanced, and that won't be in the best interest for Nigerians and our democracy. So what do you think about all these defections? Are you glad to have new members in the party? Do you feel as if some members that are already existing in the party are feeling crowded out? What's your opinion?
Definitely. Defections are part and parcel of party politics. It's not only in Nigeria, it's all over the place. Go to US. Michael Forbes, a Republican, House of Rep man, defected, from Democratic Party to the Republican. So many of them. Even President Trump himself. Have you forgotten that President Trump, who is now currently the President of the United States, was once a Democrat between 2001 and 2009, before he now joined the Republican Party, and now he's president of this country. I think there is nothing wrong with defection. The defections you're seeing, like I said, is part and parcel of party politics. The latest, which is a huge boost for APC, is the defection of Adamu Aliru, Senator Abdullahi, as well as Senator Garuba of KB. This is a boost for the party in the Northwest. Mind you, Senator Aliru is one politician in Nigeria that can win election in any party. You remember when he joined PDP from APC, he also won a Senate seat. So it's huge. Look at what happened in Delta State. Was it a couple of weeks ago? The governor of the state, the former governor, and the entire party apparatus of PDP now joined APC. But you see, in my view, I believe all these defections is a strong validation of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And to tell you the truth, I see it as a strong reaffirmation, of the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his policies by all these defectors. That is what you see happening. To me, these defections, I don't think it will be a huge blow. There won't be any negative impact on our party, even though we all know that defections, coalitions, realignments sometimes have a chain reaction. The only way I believe that, if not handled amicably, we may have issues is in Delta State, because there are a lot of big APC, political wigs in Delta. For example, the senator that is representing the Asaba area, what is going to be his fate when Okowa is there? I've heard rumors that Okowa wants to run for Senate. Omo Agege, the former governorship candidate of APC in the last election, what will be his fate? So I think the point is this. It's now left for the party, which I know our national chairman and other stewards like Senator Hope Uzodinma, and even the president himself, they all have the capacity to bring all these, factions together now that they are in one party. Have you forgotten that our president himself is a seasoned politician? He's somebody with politics in his genes. He understands all the underpinnings and intricacies of government and party politics. So I do not have any doubt that in the long run, they will all come together, with shared goals and common interests. And that interest is for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to win 2027 presidential election.
Now, Dr. Agbakahi, thank you so much, for being patient with us and answering all our questions. Now, we know that some high-profile members that are defecting to the APC have cases to answer with the EFCC. And there's suspicion in some quarters that those that are defecting are doing so in a bid to evade prosecution for fraud, corruption, abuse of office. So then what does this say about the APC's ideology, if indeed, as it's been speculated in some quarters, that all sins are forgiven once you join the APC?
I don't believe in that analogy because in the first place, I wouldn't want to comment, on issues that are, before the courts. And I'm not aware of any PDP steward that recently joined APC as a party that has cases in the court. I'm not aware. But even at that, people still have cases in court and defer to another party. Even when during the PDP years, there are many people from other parties, that defected. Defection is something that is right here in the Constitution. I don't think that they are I don't think they are defecting because of the cases they have. But they are defecting because, politics is pretty dynamic and is based on personal interest. And apart from personal interest, is also based on community interest. You see, most of these people that are defecting, they have come to find out that APC as a party is a party that has the interest of the populace at heart. They have looked at the good work the president is doing. Are they not hearing the news reports, of inflation coming down, of our, there are so many things happening in this administration. So they are trying to join a party that they also see as the ability to protect their interests as well as winning the next election, which is critical. Politics is all about election. They are looking for a situation where they will go join another party, win primaries, and win election. That was why I was saying that in Delta State, that's where we may have a little bit of problem because all these party bigwigs are all interested in coming out for 2027 election. So how do we manage them? But I now told you that I believe that the president, the party chairman, Senator Hope Uzodimma, as well as other leaders of the party, have that capacity to bring them together in one room and resolve all anomalies.
Well, it was great to have you, Dr. George Agbakahi. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program on Newsday.